Hey Sam, so
Hi.
nice to meet you. Just also wanted to really quickly say I'm a big fan of off camera. So
Oh, thank you.
yeah. Um, so diving right in, I noticed that early in your career, you tended to focus more on like music, documentaries, and then you work with Mumford and Son. Um, and then you kind of did this really interesting pivot with the Tony Hawk documentary. So I'm kind of curious, like, why this story to tell?
Well, this story is probably the most personal film I've ever made because it's so much of my own childhood as well. I was a skateboarder and still am, and was incredibly obsessed. And it was my entire childhood, my obsession, my uh, uh, it's where I found sort of my peer group and my confidence. And I was on a team. I was sponsored by a shop and would go compete. And I really wanted to. I wanted to be Tony Hawk, and I'd be at these same contests, and I'd be in the amateur division, he'd be in the pro division. But I think the reason that his story was one that I wanted to tell was because he had a lot of the same challenges as I did in terms of being a skinny kid who was picked on and sort of had a harder time finding his peer group and finding acceptance among the peers of the sport that he loved. And to tell that story for me was sort of like examining my own upbringing, and to try to figure out what made Tony uh what he was born with versus uh what he found through grit and determination. Trying to figure all of that out was an exploration for me that had a lot of resonance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the strongest things about the documentary is just how well you kind of capture that, like being an outsider and still kind of thriving. Like you definitely are just rooting for him, and it's like obviously the outcome is going to be is going to go well, but it definitely gives you kind of like a sense of like, yeah, a lot of people can resonate with being bullied or not feeling like they are doing well enough. So I think that is really, I think, what makes it such a compelling. I mean Tony Hawk's compelling anyways, but I feel like that's such a compelling hook for the film.
Yeah, it to me, the trying to go deep enough into someone's life so you can find the connectivity to your own life. That kind of deep dive is it's selfish because I want to learn for myself. It's the reason I started off camera, uh, and it's the reason I did this film, is that I always want to find out what makes people do what they do. And that's how I sort of, that's how I sort of do my own pursuits in my own life. And it's funny because I think in this world, people tend to want to put you in a category or a box, or,
Yeah.
if you take pictures for a while, you're just a photographer, or if you make two music films, that's your specialty. But I've never had that. I feel like I have a whole huge amount of interests, and there's just not enough time on earth in a lifespan to get to everything that you love, and to dive in deep. But that to me is the way to make our time on earth the most richly rewarding experience, is to be as curious and excited about things as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that that's definitely one of the key things that I love when I interview people is just, using that kind of natural curiosity to, I mean, you can kind of tell when you're phoning it in an interview or not, I think. Um, so now, you get some really amazing, candid, and deeply personal interviews. I was wondering, did you find it particularly hard to get any of the subjects to kind of like open up, or do you think they were pretty willing?
One of the things I didn't realize, maybe until I reflected back on it, was how lucky I was that all of these skaters have such unique voices and perspectives. And it is a testament to skateboarding itself that it draws people that are individual thinkers and who are very creative people and who see the world in ways that they not only are good at communicating, but also they have a pretty hardcore philosophical belief system that they live their life by. So in the case of Stacy Peralta or Rodney Mullen or Lance Mountain, um, they're very thoughtful individuals. And we were just so lucky to have such incredible, unique voices in this film. I mean, with every interview, and I'm sure you know this from doing it too, you got to get there a different way with everybody, and you got to work harder on some, and others you just have to open your ears and stay present. But I feel like on this film, um, you know, having the experience that I have in skating and really understanding it helped, because everyone sort of trusted that their story was going to be told in a way that was authentic. Um, and, in the case of someone like Tony, um, there was a trust factor there too, that, I think we did 25 or 30 hours to do his story. And then I would go out, and halfway through interviewing him, 10 hours in, I'd go talk to Stacy, and then I come back and then I could say, well, hey, Stacy remembers it this way. And then that would make Tony respond in a different way than he would if I wasn't able to bring that conversation. So it was sort of this cumulative thing where I would be interviewing Tony, and then I'd go out and sit with somebody else and come back with more new information. And that cumulative effect gave the film a very, I think there's a conversation aspect between all these interviews where they're all aware of how the others feel about skating and Tony's history.
Nice. So you say you're a skateboarder, so I'm assuming that you and Tony did a little skateboarding together.
Tony's level of skating is so intimidating. And so, his ramp is 13 and a half feet high. And so I skated his ramp, but I'd wait till he left because but yeah, I've done a little skating with Tony. I remember we went to the Vans Park, I don't know, several years ago, sort of at the beginning of this process, and did some skating together. But our editor, Greg Fenton, is also a skater. And before we started working together, I used to see him at my local skate park here in Santa Monica. So we took breaks while making the film and would go to the skate park for lunch or go to the ramp. And it's a very good way to stay focused on your subject, is to go out and remember how scary and hard and thrilling it is to still push yourself. And again, how lucky am I to be making a film about something that I love to do and I can still do it,
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure it brings a relatability that it's something you enjoy doing, and you can connect with Tony in that world. So now, how long did you know Tony Hawk prior to like filming?
Well, I mean, I used to be at the skate park in like 1983 and see him there. And if you went to Del Mar, pretty much any time between 82 and 87, you were going to see Tony there, because he was there every day. He lived there basically. And that was always a thrill to go to the park and get your pads on and roll into the skate park and see that Tony was skating. So I knew of him and was around him forever, but he wasn't really aware of me. I was just another skate kid in the park. But he came on my show in 2013. He was my fifth guest, and I think he was very surprised pleasantly when I interviewed him about all of the people that we knew in common and all of the places that we'd skated. And that was sort of the groundwork for this documentary. Not that I knew that. When I had him on my show, I did not have designs to eventually make a film about him. But in talking to him, my curiosity was piqued about his own perception of his career and the obstacles and shortcomings that he had to deal with. So, but what I didn't realize was when he came on my show, he walked away going, oh, this person really understands skating and was there. And so that developed the trust that eventually led us to working together on this.
Nice. So after this interview, you kind of ruminated on it for a while and then kind of had that like aha moment of like there's a really good story to tell here.
Yeah, and to be honest, I thought there probably was something already in place just because Tony was such a, worldwide skate figure and publicly known, and I just sort of assumed that there was already something in the works. And I was surprised when I called to find out that there had been some offers, but nothing had seemed right to Tony so far. So, I think that's one of those moments where you go, oh wow, like there's an opportunity here, and that's when I got the Duplass brothers involved, and we started figuring out how to get it made.
Yeah, and again, it's such an amazing film, and I was so impressed by just the wealth of photographs and like behind the scenes, like home videos and stuff. How long did that stuff take to compile?
Oh, it was took a long time. Luckily for me, I'd seen a lot of that footage throughout the years, just from watching skate videos and watching them on repeat over and over again. So I knew about a lot of the stuff in the from the mid '80s to the early '90s, um, the stuff that Stacy had done with the Bones Brigade, and but that was amazing to have all of the raw outtakes of everything that had been shot while Tony was a member of the Bones Brigade, and to go through it all was just hours and hours and hours. And but again, one of the most fun things to just sit there with a notebook and a pen and log footage and see things that I either hadn't seen in a long time or hadn't ever seen because it didn't make the cut. It's funny to see some of the things that were left behind initially gain perspective and gain value as footage as Tony got older. So that part to me was, it never felt like work. It just was like, oh, today I get to sit and watch old skate videos.
Nice.
And then also the X Games stuff was interesting because that was right around the time when people started to own their own cameras. And at the '99 X Games, there was, ESPN broadcast them and uh, did not allow anyone else to film uh, any part of it. But when Tony started getting close to landing that trick, all these skaters had their own little personal video cameras in their bags, and so these cameras would come out in these skaters' hands, and all this video is recorded illegally that we then got access to. So we have sort of this multicam view of something that originally was just seen through the lens of ESPN. And that was fascinating to find all of that stuff. And, there's someone up on the deck with the camera, there's someone in the audience, there's someone in the judge's booth. And we were able to gather all that footage together. And that was fascinating to me.
That's great. So real quick, last question. So if what is the one thing you want people to take away from this documentary?
Well, Tony, skateboarding is about getting back up. And I think before this documentary, most of the footage we think of when we think of Tony Hawk is him landing all of these tricks and montages and compilations of his greatest tricks. But we don't get to see the process and the hard work and the failure and the years of struggle. And the reason I wanted to focus on that so much is because I want to destroy the myth that there's this natural talent that Tony just had, and that's why he was better than everybody. It couldn't have been further from the truth. And Tony was the kid at the skate park that didn't have the natural talent, but he was there and when it opened and when it closed, and he was willing to break his body up and go for stuff that other people just, if they had a bad day at the skate park, maybe they didn't show up the next day. And I want anyone watching this, especially younger people, to see this and go, oh, my future is in my own hands, and it's not natural talent and it's not luck or happenstance. But if you love something and you put down your phone and you focus on what it is that you love, you can have a really successful life because you're doing something that you love, and you're finding reserves in yourself that you didn't know you had until you committed to something. So I think these short answers, that commitment is something that is possible for everybody.
Okay, great. Again, thank you so much. And again, such a fantastic documentary
Thank you.
that premieres today, April 5th. So everybody check it out. So thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Appreciate it.